Hey everybody, Greg here, and this is another video in the series of videos on bicycle trails in the Iowa City, Coralville, North Liberty area. And today is Tuesday, August 8th, 2017, so that gets you oriented to about what time this is recorded. And I'm here at the HTRC, Hawkeye Tennis Recreation Center. This is a hub that it's a good place to start riding from. You know, some people who live in the area will just ride their bikes here, but if you're coming in from out of town, or if you're not nearby and you want to start a ride from here, there's usually plenty of parking, and so that's why I pick these locations that have lots of access to parking. And also another advantage is that from here you can pretty easily go north to Coralville. You can head south toward the south side of Iowa City, and you can also head east from here. There are a couple of routes. So today's route, though, we're going to go from here at the HTRC over to the New Pioneer Co-op in Coralville. And the reason I pick that particular location in that area, that particular business, is just that I tend to feature local businesses, and I also want to highlight landmarks that people will be familiar with. It's another location where people can drive, park, and go riding from. And from the New Pioneer Co-op in Coralville, you can easily head north on a trail that goes under the railroad track, which is what we're going to see today. You can also head east and head over toward Iowa River Power, which is a hub for the area trails, and you can head west. So that's why New Pioneer is a good landmark. So we're kind of winding our way away from the HTRC, and I want to give you a sense of the surroundings here. That's where we were. There's a little trail that goes between the parking lot here and the access road. And then that makes its way here, where there's an intersection, and you can either turn right, which is heading south, or you can turn left. And so we're going to go left. Now I try to pick sunny days when I make these videos. I like it to be kind of sunny, and I also like it to be not so windy. And if you're new to these videos, basically the idea is to have ride segments from one destination to another, and then at the end of the ride be able to continue riding if you want. On the video you can choose, if you want to head north, south, east, or west, and continue to the next video. So that makes this sort of an interactive experience, and each segment takes you from one place of interest to another. So if you're just looking up, let's say, the best way to get from point A to point B, you can do that. Now I could turn right here along this trail and then take the first left turn on the street that would get me back to the Mormon handcart trail, and that trail would take me along through the woods that you see in the distance beyond the soccer fields. And it would just continue going along in those woods. It's kind of a winding trail, and it would eventually, the Mormon handcart trail would eventually end up over here, and I'm going to head in that direction. So I've turned left along this access road. I tend to go a lot slower in these videos than the normal person would be riding, and that is partly just to stay safe. You know, I'm riding with one hand and using an iPhone 7 at this point to do the HD videos with the back-facing camera. So riding slow is a bit safer. It also helps me to take time to narrate these you know, turns and things along the way. So I'm not going to continue straight. I'm going to turn right here at the end of the soccer fields, and there'll be a sign. It says, I'll go ahead and zoom in, Clear Creek Trail, Coral Ridge Mall, 2.6 miles. So the signage is pretty much self-explanatory. We can basically follow this trail and we'll end up at the Coral Ridge Mall. Well, that's quite a distance, and further than we're going to go today in this ride. We're going to go about half that distance and then turn right and head north toward the new Pioneer Co-op. Now, I mentioned the Mormon Handcart Trail earlier that goes along through those woods. It's a real pretty ride. Lots of twists and turns and ups and downs. You want to be careful because you generally won't see oncoming bicyclists or runners. And this is where the Mormon Handcart Trail comes out and connects up here to the Clear Creek Trail. There's some signage here. I'll let you take a look at that. And that's the trail. And as you can see, it's not quite as well maintained as the Clear Creek Trail, and it's not as wide. So I'm going to continue along here on the Clear Creek Trail. Something I like about this particular ride is that there's a lot of shade. So today it's actually not too hot out, but you come into this shaded area of the trail and it's just super comfortable. I can hear some cyclists approaching from behind. There's a field off to the left, and there are some spots along this ride where you're not shaded by the trees. So these videos are kind of like Google Street View, but for bike trails, and gives you a chance to sort of zoom in, speed up, rewind, you know, and if you want, just kind of fast forward through these videos, listen to the narration or not, and get an idea of the area trails without taking, you know, a week to do it. Here's that big open field, which is really quite nice. So now we're approaching a fork in the road here, a fork in the trail, where we can either kind of continue veering to the right or we can turn left. Now if we turn left, we would continue on Clear Creek Trail and go out toward the Coral Ridge Mall. There'd actually be, as you can see on the trail map here, I'll just show you where we are at. we're at this point here on the map, and we're going to turn right. But if we stayed on this trail, it would go through the woods along Clear Creek, and this is a major junction. It's called 22nd Avenue or Camp Cardinal Boulevard, and that you'll see that introduced on the main overview video for the city. I've produced a video with essentially an overview of all the trails, but that's a big spot there because again, if somebody's driving into town and wants to go riding, that'd be a good place to stop. There's a rest area, and then you can continue on this way, and then it says Future Trail. There's actually a bit of a dead-end trail there, but it's really quite nice. So anyway, not to go too much off track, but I wanted to kind of orient you to where we are. So showing the approach again, you'll see a sign that says the library is about 2 minutes away. And just to give you an idea, these prairie areas are essentially pollinating spaces as well as supporting other wildlife, and so it makes a nice ride, you know, as you're going through here. Kind of a close-up of that butterfly, but as you're riding through, you'll have an opportunity to see some of the natural prairie grass, bees, butterflies, you know, pollinating here, and it makes a nicer ride than, you know, just taking the street with a lot of, you know, noisy cars and trucks and stuff. This bridge is crossing Clear Creek. I'll slow down for a minute to show you that. And it will be, you know, at different stages and height of water, depending on how much rain we've had. And there are times when it floods in here. And so during those times when it's flooded, you want to be either avoiding the area or at least be really careful. You can end up with kind of a layer of water or really slick mud along this trail. So we're nearing the end of this segment. We're going to cross underneath the bridge that goes under the railroad, and then just under the bridge we'll come out at 2nd Street in Coralville. And this is another spot that could be, you know, flooded and wet at a rainy time. So the railroad track is going over above, and this tunnel that sort of looks like a mining shaft entrance will let us out over here. And then we'll turn left and kind of wind around up the trail here. Now, as I mentioned, up here we're going to be approaching 2nd Street, which is usually quite busy, so you want to be careful. And you'll see some of these sort of gates, draw gates or whatever, barricades for the trail. Those would normally end up being lowered at a time of flooding. So you want to observe those. The Iowa City Coralville area is really quite good about having well monitored and managed, you know, crosswalks. So I'm going to push the button here, and the east and westbound traffic just got the green light, so it's going to be just a couple minutes, and then we'll get a walk light across here. In the distance, you can see just the top floors of the Arts Center in Coralville. And we're going to be going over there to the right where the new Pioneer Co-op is. This amount of traffic is pretty common for 2nd Street. The intersection here is 12th Avenue. I'll show you that. 12th Avenue and 2nd. So at this point it's 5 lanes of traffic, including the turning lanes. So you'll see people often will go through yellow, or here's somebody going through a red light, and you just want to be aware of that. You know, it's nothing personal if it seems like they're trying to run you over, going over the speed limit, etc. There are other people who will kind of edge into the road, even though you have the right-of-way. They might just drive right into you. So just be real careful. You can, you know, obey the traffic signals as much as it, you know, depends on you being a responsible driver or rider, but don't think those signals are going to give you any indication of what other people are going to do. You will be disappointed probably. So another thing I always point out is when you have a turn signal, sometimes people will swing around, or not turn signal, a turn lane. People will swing through that turn lane, and they don't care if they're pedestrians or bicyclists or whatever. So be kind of mindful of that. And anyway, this is just a short segment of a very long and well-built sidewalk that goes the full length of 2nd Street here in Coralville. So I'm going to turn into the new Pioneer Co-op area. And before I finish out the video, I'm just going to show you where the bicycle parking is here. They're both traditional racks as well as these hanging racks. And then some of the merchants, some of the businesses in the area have these bicycle stands, which also include some tools for making adjustments to your bike. So I'll just kind of show you variety of tools that are on cables here. There's the rack and the pump. So I like to point that out, and usually those businesses are, you know, close to the bike trail, and so it's a nice thing to have. Well, anyway, thanks so much for watching, and let me know if you have any comments, suggestions, or questions. Have a great day.